Hey guys! So, if you're wondering why you're like in a weird angle and like why it looks like I'm on the floor, I am on the floor. We're at this angle because you're actually sitting on my bookshelf. I got a pop socket last night for my phone, so it makes it a lot easier for me to film on my phone, which is what I've been doing because my laptop camera webcam isn't as good as the camera on my new phone, so that's what we're doing. Pop socket, it is the gay pride flag and it says love wins on it, and I am obsessed. It's amazing. I literally drove to a Target that's like 20 minutes away from me at like 9:30 last night to go pick it up because that's my life. Anyway, today we're going to be doing an unhaul to take all these books to Half Price Books. I was actually rewatching Sam from Thoughts on Tomes Kamariing her TBR bookshelves and the unofficial guide to unhauling books because I woke up this morning feeling like I wanted to unhaul some books, and I'm unhauling like a lot more books than I meant to. It's a little over 40, so it's a lot. So we're just gonna go ahead and get on into it, and I'm really, really excited. So the first one I have here is The Dinosaur Lords by Victor Mullen. I got this a few years ago. Me and my boyfriend my fiance now, he was my boyfriend back then. We had gone to the store, and I love dinosaurs, and it just sounded really cool, and it sounded a lot like this video game we played called Ark. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it's also blurbed by George R.R. Martin. But I don't know, every time, a lot of these books, they've been on my bookshelf for a while, and my eyes kind of just pass over them, if that makes sense. Like, I know they're there and I see them, but like I never look at them like, oh, I want to read that. Like, it's never like that when I'm looking at my shelves. So that's what a lot of these books are like. So also, a lot of these books that I'm getting rid of, if I haven't read them, I know for a fact that they are on overdrive. So if I decide later on that I do want to read them, I can easily get them to read them, but I won't be spending money or anything like that on them. And it's also, I'll show you guys after we go through all the books, and I'll show you how empty my shelves are now, which is really exciting. But yeah, so there's that one. Then I also have this whole box set of the Sookie Stackhouse books, which is the books that TV show True Blood was based on, which I have never seen, but I was wanting to see it, and I was like, oh, I'll read the books and then I can watch the show and da-da-da-da. But I've literally read the first chapter of the first book, which is 37 pages. That's a long-ass chapter. And I'm not interested. It's another one that, like, my eyes just always pass over this, and I just kind of don't care. So I'm going to be getting rid of those. And again, all these books, like I said, they're at my library. So if I want to read them, I can at some point. Now, the next one's a little probably controversial, but that is my little box set of the J.R.R. Tolkien books. So The Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King, as well as The Hobbit. The Hobbit is actually the only one I've actually read, and I did enjoy The Hobbit. But it's like a set, so I have to get rid of the whole set if I'm going to get rid of it. And I could always rebuy The Hobbit if I want to, but I've read like the first 200 pages of this. Well, maybe not 200, maybe like the first 192 pages of this, like 3 times, and I never get farther. Yeah, right here, chapter Flight to the Ford, right here is where I always stop. And I've never, ever gotten farther in it, and I just never care enough to. And again, definitely at the library. Also, actually, Scribd has the audiobooks, and I think that those will work better for me as pertaining to this. So I think I'll probably read them through audiobook form, so I don't need to keep this set. The next ones are a series. Did I mention I Love You? Did I mention I Need You? And did I mention I Miss You? Which I read the first book. I actually did enjoy this. It's just, they're ugly, and I'm not going to want to reread them once I do read them. So, and they're also, again, they're on overdrive. So, goodbye. The next two are Guilt and Tarnish by Catherine Longshore, which I just don't care. I've had these for a while, and the only reason I was really caring was at the time I was watching the show The Tudors, and I really have always enjoyed, like, the story of, like, Anne Boleyn and King Henry, and, like, I just really love that whole dynamic, which is what this one is on, but you have to read this one to read this one, and then I just kind of just don't give a shit anymore, so that's where that's going. The next one, The Lies of Lamora by Scott Lynch, and you're probably like, ew, why? And it's like, I do want to read this book, but, like, the edition I have, the font is ridiculously tiny, and it hurts my eyes just to even glance at a page of this, so there's no way I'm going to actually read it. The next three are all Rochelle Mead books. I have Last Sacrifice, Spirit Bound, and Bloodlines. I have been reading this series, and I do enjoy it, but I have been getting rid, as soon as I read the books, I get rid of them, because I'm not going to want to reread this series, and again, these are all in overdrive, they're all at my library, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these, and then I can just read them ebook-wise on my Kindle, so. The next one is The Conspiracy of Us by Maggie Hall. This is another one that I do want to read, but honestly, the cover's just fucking ugly, so I just kind of want to get rid of it, and I'll just, like, read the ebook version from overdrive, so. And the next ones I have are this series, which this is a series that Murphy over at Murphy Napier talked about, like, a lot, and that made me want to read them, but just not anything that I ever gravitate towards, and I just don't care, so I'm getting rid of those. And I didn't pay very much for them. They were all like $1 on Book Outlet, so don't care. The next one is Born Wicked by Jessica Spotswood, which is one I have already read. I'm just never going to want to reread it. The covers aren't that great, so I'm probably just going to get them from Overdrive. I don't really want to own the series on my shelf. The next two are both Casey West books. I really enjoyed By Your Side, but I think the reason why I liked this one was just because of the library setting. I don't think I'll actually like her other books just because I don't really like romance. I think really the only reason I liked this one was because it was set in a library and they got locked in and everything, and that just really added a layer for me that made me enjoy it. The next one is Spinning Silver by Naomi Novak. I got this from my first uppercase, but I read it. I didn't really enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy Uprooted all that much either. I just kind of don't care about her books, honestly. I'm not that big of a fan. I think she's just not really for me. I don't really like her writing style. I don't really like the vagueness of stuff. I don't know. I just don't really... Like, she has cool concepts and her plots can be nice. I just don't think she executes them in a way that I enjoy, if that makes sense. The next book I have is Wolf by Ryan Groden, which everybody talked about for a while back then on BookTube, and it's all about this girl who can shapeshift, and if you win this race, then you get an audience with Hitler, and she's gonna kill him. This is like as if they actually won the World War. But, in my high school, I got beaten to death down with World War II stuff. Like, we learned about World War II in every single subject I did, even, like, theater and shit. And I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. I'm so sick of it. Like, I'm so sick of learning about it. And, like, I get it's really important and everything, and I'm glad that I do know as much as I do know. But I don't want to read, like, my fiction books. I don't want them to be about that just because I've had so much of it. And it just really, like, beats you down after a while, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to get rid of this. I just don't care anymore. The next two books is actually a little weird and a little bittersweet for me, and that is The Assassin's Curse and The Pirate's Wish by Cassandra Rose Clark. So these are not in publish anymore. Like, they're out of print. And then that's the main reason I've held on to these for so long, because I've already read them, and because they're out of print, I was like, oh, I should hold on to them because, you know, I won't ever be able to get them back. But then again, like, they're just sitting on my shelves, and I'm not reading them. Like, I'm not going to reread them. I know that for sure. And so I don't really want to, like, keep them, and it would be really cool for somebody else to find those and be able to read them and be excited about it, you know? So, the next one I have is The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. This is another one that I have already read, and I did enjoy it, but it wasn't like, oh my god, kill me now kind of thing. It was okay, But I don't think I'm ever going to reread this because once you know the plot twist, I don't think that this book packs as much as a punch anymore. So I think knowing the plot twist going into it, I wouldn't enjoy it as much, so I don't see myself rereading it. It does have beautiful writing, beautiful quotes, but again, just not going to reread it, so goodbye. The next one is kind of funny, and that is Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe by Fanny Flagg, which I love Fried Green Tomatoes, the movie. Oh my god, I love it. I watched it for the first time, I want to say, when I was about 9 or 10, and I loved it. And it's been one of my favorite movies my entire life. I've rewatched it about 50 billion fucking times, and you might be like, 10-year-old that liked that movie? Because it's a little... it's a little adult, it's a little, slow and weird, but I love that fucking movie so much. And so when I found out it was a book, I didn't know it was a book until I was about 19 or so, and I saw it in a bookstore, and I was like, oh my god, it's a book? And I freaked out, and I was like, oh, I need to get the book, I need to read it. But it's been on my shelf all these years, and I've never gravitated towards picking it up, ever. And I'm sure my library has it if I change my mind at some point, but I just, I can always just rewatch the movie, and honestly, I'm happy with the movie. The next one is As Old as Time, which is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which I love Beauty and the Beast, but I'm just not interested, and I tried reading, a lot of these, I tried reading the first chapter if I hadn't read them before, just to see how I felt. And I just don't care, so that's that one. The next one is the Shadow Magic Trilogy by John Lennon. This is, I've already read the first book in this little trilogy bind-up thing, and I just don't care. I don't see myself continuing on, I'm good, so. And then the next ones are books in the Iron Fae series. I have the bind-up of the first 2 books and then the third one, and I just never gravitate towards it. I read the first book, the Iron King or whatever, the Iron King, years ago, and I have never continued on. I've never really cared to continue on. It's another one that I look at my bookshelves and my eyes just pass right over it, so those are gone. The next one is The Winter Witch by Paula Braxton. This is a book that I just saw at a bookstore randomly, and I think this is why I wanted to read it, was because one of the blurbs on the back says, there's a whiff of Harry Potter in the witchy conflict, love of landscape, and lyrical writing lend charm, but it's Braxton's full-blooded storytelling that will hook the reader. But again, this is another one that I started, reading the first chapter, and, it has some really gorgeous fucking writing in there. It's really nice, and I think I would enjoy that, but I just don't think that I'm ever gonna, again, I never gravitate towards actually picking this up physically, so I think I saw it on, library stuff, and I think there's the audiobook for it, and I think that's gonna be a way better way for me to go. The audiobook, I think, is gonna be amazing, so I'm gonna go that way with it. And I'm not one of those people that want to own a book that I've listened to the audiobook for, if that makes sense. I just don't see the point. I've already read this story, I don't need to have it on my shelf, you know what I mean? Unless, I really fucking love it. And then the next one I have is Wolves and Roses by Christina Bauer. I bought this because we had gotten some promotional stuff at work and and it's autographed by her and everything, but I started reading the first chapter, and I'm just going to read you guys this first little passage, okay? I wait in the bottom level of the Denari League in Midtown Manhattan. As basements go, it's not too bad. The space is snug and clean with concrete block walls, a linoleum floor, and hardly any cockroaches. For New York, that's a big deal. I fidget on my chair. The plastic seat is so cockeyed, my left butt cheek has gone numb. And that's not the worst part of this situation. Any minute now, my Magic Corium Teen Therapy Group will begin. Yay. The writing is just so choppy, and it just feels like it's done, I don't like the writing at all, the writing style, so that's gone for sure. The next one is To Kill a Kingdom, which is funny because I actually had to take out all my Post-it notes out of this. Because I had a bunch of my tabs in there. And I did really enjoy this book. Like, I do recommend it. I just don't think it's one that I'm ever going to reread. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of it. The next one is Darkly Dreaming Dexter. I got this because I was watching the show back a long time ago. And I never finished the show. I think I got up to like season 6 and everybody says the ending is so terrible. So I've never seen the ending and everybody tells me like don't because it's bad. But I was like, oh, it'd be cool to read the books though because I really do like the idea of Dexter and everything, and I thought it would be really interesting to like know what went into it and everything, but I just don't actually care, so I'm gonna get rid of that. Another one is Theft of Swords by Michael J. Sullivan. Again, library's got this. I can read it from there, and again, this is just one I've had for a really long time and I haven't read. The next two are Magic Study and Fire Study. I read Poison Study a while ago, and I did enjoy it, like, a lot, but I have tried to pick up Magic Study so many times, and I just can never get back into it, so I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these. And then the last one is The Lux by Anna Godberson. This is, like, a Manhattan 1920s, like, kind of thing. Or 1899 actually, sorry. But like, you know, I love that Regency era type stuff, but I never have the inkling to pick this up, and I don't think I'm going to, and if I ever want to read it again, Overdrive's got it. So, yeah, so those are all the books that I am unhauling, and here, real fast, I will show you guys what the shelves look like now. So it's mainly this one that has the most, so like all those spots. Look at this one, this one's really empty. And then down there, there's a bunch of spots, and then down at the bottom, there is a bunch of spots right there. There's some spots here too. So, yeah. I've got me some pretty empty shelves now. So, yeah, I'm going to go to Half Price Books and sell these books back. Let me know how you guys feel about unhauling your books. Do you do it? Do you not? If you do, what are your techniques? Like, what do you ask yourself when you're looking at a book and thinking, should I unhaul this? And, yeah, just let me know, and I will talk to you guys later.